Hey boys and girls, it's KnightStalker here. Welcome along today to a bit of a podcast. Check it out.
Good morning, folks. How are you doing? Back with another Conqueror's Blade video, and this time I'm joined by Mr. KnightStalker. How are you, Mr. Knight?
I'm good, mate. I'm having a great time. It's finally great to finally catch up with you. We've been certainly trying to catch up for some time now, so...
There have been some problems along the way, and there, but we are here. That's the main thing. So, I think tonight we're going to be doing a little bit different. We're going to be making a bit of a podcast about the last couple of seasons, the current season, and obviously what we're going to be looking forward to in the future as well. Anything that you want to kind of talk about as well, Mr. Stalker?
Yeah, I think that'll probably cover a little podcast today. I'm very excited to talk about particularly this season. I haven't had a chance to discuss it with any of the other content creators yet, so that's going to be fantastic. Where do you want to start? I mean, last season was pretty good. How did you feel about that?
So what I'll do very quickly is I'll just explain that what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about the last season, current season, future season. Obviously, this is all everything that we talk about is, unless it's publicly been released, is all just kind of what we want and all the rest of it and what we think and thoughts and feelings and things. So take everything away from what we're saying today with a pinch of salt. Nothing that we say about the future seasons is official, so don't go quoting any of us because we'll both get in the poo. And then we'll kind of, just have a bit of a quick chat at the end as well. But as we're going through, folks, if you have any comments or anything, then just leave them in the comments section of whichever video you're watching. And we're gonna start off with a bit of season 10 chat. I had to quickly remember that what season we're in. But season 10. So the Scottish season. Actually had to remember what season it was as well. What are your thoughts first, Mr. Knight, about them?
Well, I mean, the obvious place to start with is the aesthetics of the season, which I was really pleased with. Initially, I thought, well, bagpipes. How much fun can that be to listen to bagpipes for a couple of hours every single day? But that kind of didn't eventuate, so I'm all right. Not many people use those bagpipers.
Yeah, no, it's I think there was a bit of a novelty for them there, and that novelty very quickly wore off. To be honest, I thought actually we would see them a lot more than what we do, because I thought the benefits of them would be very good, but they don't just seem to have just kind of gone, haven't they?
Well, yeah, and I find that quite interesting because they're actually quite a powerful unit. Like the buff that they have is not only a massive area; it's 15% damage increase, 15% move increase. You can hit the 3 key, get a second or two of anti-CC for everybody in that bubble. You can get a 15%. Is it 15% defense? I think it might be. But also when you press their burst, they get a bigger version of the buff. This unit had to be capped for its support unit points at 450 because it's actually so powerful, and it's stunning, I think, that we don't see more of them.
No, definitely, and especially in TW, you would think that would make a massive difference, especially on defense. Some of the buffs that can be pumped out by the bagpipes, but I haven't seen them at all in TW. I don't know. I don't think you're much of a TW player, are you? But
no.
Yeah, they've definitely fallen short of my expectations of them, which is a real shame. But I think it's looking at the bagpipes, obviously from last season, obviously Alchemist this season, I am liking the more supporting kind of units. I don't know what you think of that.
Oh man, I play support all day, every day. So these units are my bread and butter, and I just love them. I got a ranked MVP running support units the other day. It was fantastic.
That takes some absolute skill fluke. So hats off for that one. What about the other units then? The Claymores and the the Shendries was it? It was the Houndsman from season 10.
So I mean, which one do you want to start with? Claymores, right? Claymores are great. And I think after the little changes they made to them, and possibly some stealth changes too, I would say. But they've actually come up pretty well. They're a very brutal unit. The only thing that stops them really, I think, being pushed into the S tier is, well, that they don't really have any decent CC resistance. So something that does mass CC, a longsword, a short sword, even a bows, thunder arrow, whatever you call it. It just puts the whole unit on their backside and eliminates them from the fight, really. So, but if you're not getting CC, man, that unit could just tear apart just about anything.
Yeah. What do you think, before I say it, what do you think of their debuff though?
I
So
think,
do you think it's about right? So when you I think it's the 2 ability and they go a bit berserk for a bit and whack stuff, and then they go into that massive debuff for a few seconds right at the end. Do you think they've kind of balanced that right? Do you think it's too much, too little?
I mean, when you're using this unit, it always feels like, damn, I wish that didn't happen. But you've got to balance them out somehow. And I think it's about right. The thing that really hurts me, I feel, is how slow they become. Within the frame of that little mini berserk, well, I can't remember the name of the skill, but you get in there and you start hacking away. You've got to walk 3 seconds before that ends to get back out, and you've got to engage with friends to be able to withdraw them. So I think that the length of it is fine. Perhaps the slow debuff is a little much to be able to pull them back out again. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, because my thoughts are exactly the same. I think the debuff is, I think, in terms of the attack and defense, totally get it. Like, they're going to have a massive debuff, but the movement speed, like you said, you've got to pull them out while they'll still in that kind of skill, or they just get absolutely slaughtered. So actually that, 10-second skill only becomes 6 seconds, really, unless you're prepared to lose them all, which is a real shame. I think if that were the movement speed kind of debuff was just toned down even a little bit, I think we'd see them a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we play on different servers, obviously, and different, well, not versions of the game per se, but different server clusters. But we see them quite a bit over on the Frontier server. So are you not seeing many of them in the battles?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I can't actually remember the last time I did see them, to be fair, which is a real shame, because I personally really enjoyed them. But yeah, maybe 1, 2 every 3 or 4 matches I see them. Like, they're a very rare unit to be seen on this side.
Crazy. Well, I see them every game, or near enough too, you know. It's very interesting. Different play styles.
Yeah, definitely. I still need to come over and try Frontier. I really do, because I've been told that things are somewhat different over there. People play it differently. There's different kind of strategies and everything involved. It'll be very interesting to see, I have to say. Yeah,
the meta in terms of which units and things you use is almost identical, but how they're played in and what quantities tends to be a little bit differently. I play on EU and NA and on Frontier, so it's very interesting to see the difference between the three. You know, even though that EU and NA are technically the exact same version of the game, the way that people play there is quite different. Obviously, you hear the rumours of the hordes of archers. Yeah, it happens. On one particular server, shall we say.
I was actually just about to mention that, although there has been rumblings that the NA lot are starting to use ranged a lot more than our CU lot, so the tables are turning, I think.
Could be. The highest, we see a lot of muskets, like tons and tons of muskets, and on Frontier, and I typically see that a little bit on the EU as well. I think it's probably just the Shinjis are a little bit too overtuned, just a little bit on the high side, but I'm sure that's going to be addressed. They're typically addressing balance issues quite quickly now.
Yeah, which is a really good thing to see. And some of the I don't know if you keep up to date with the My Games version of patch notes, although I'm pretty sure they're going to be very similar to the Frontier version. But some of the buffs are a little bit questionable units. You think, I'm not quite sure what 12 extra blunt defense is going to do for Village Watchman, but it's I can see what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring everything back up into line with each other, and they're trying to do it slowly so it doesn't just create an absolute kind of void of units again. Which there's now I think we're pretty close to 100 different units in the game now, and we're still only seeing 20 to 30.
Yeah, typically, but in their incremental changes, like yourself, I really appreciate that from them, because in the previous seasons, ever since, I joined at the end of season 2, so, I mean, we went through all of the issues from at the time it was Rattan Rangers, and then the latest one is, well, probably they've just taken down the Keshigs. But in the early days, they swung far too hard left and right. They went from Rattan Rangers were garbage to they were utter god tier, and then they went straight back down to garbage and no one uses them. And we haven't seen that with like the Keshigs. It took that one little tweak to put them right back into balance, and I think they got it right. They changed a few little things, and then finally they twigged on what it was. Not being able to hit through blocks.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, and it's good to see that they didn't just the Keshiks in particular didn't just nerf straight back into the floor after the outcry from people in the community. But I think the best example at the minute of kind of balance is when they brought the Liao Rangers back into kind of rotation, and they gave them a slight kind of buff recently, and I would put them on par now with the Keshiks, to be honest. Like, you bring the outdoor Keshiks in, I think you're going to have a good game.
Yeah. I'm very much enjoying the Liaos at the moment. They're for me, probably the best cav, but I also love the Chevaliers as well. But I think that's because, not being a TW player, I don't play a lot of cavalry, so Chevaliers are the best T5 crossbow unit in the game, right? They're sure as hell not the best cavalry unit. But we've actually managed to skip a season.
So yeah, we'll talk more about the Chevaliers in a minute, and I'm glad you said it first because I always butcher that name. But going back to the Houndsmen, then, what did you think of the Houndsmen? Did you enjoy the dogs that came with them?
Yes, I absolutely love the Houndsmen as a unit. Absolutely love it. They can, when they first came out, there was a lot of cavalry spam and things like that, which, to be fair, is still going on, but nothing like it was. And they were able to, as an archer unit, defeat cavalry from the front, with their number 2 ability that pins people down, and then the dogs hit them for a further reduction, and if you get hit by both, you're immobile. So their DPS is horrendous, right? So the cavalry would charge me, you'd bang the number 2 on, they'd pin them in place and just destroy them. Not often that you get those one-on-one in isolation type things, but certainly the concept plays across to the death ball and things like that as well. And of course, my opinions on this are from a solo queue, often siege player rather than a group or territory war sort of play. So I really, really like that unit for its ability to really interfere with the enemy, to cause bleeding, which is horrendous for heroes if they haven't got the right rune. And yeah, they just do so much damage, even with their, individually, not so much, but the whole package really works. The only thing I don't like about them is the dogs are too aggressive. I think that when you're sitting in waiting mode, in shooting, the dogs should be well trained enough to not run off from their masters, leaving them a bit naked.
Yeah, you got to be real Jimmy on the spot with that, don't you? I've noticed that recently, actually. Them and what really springs to mind about being too aggressive with the Reapers, and they just go off YOLOing into the absolute middle of battle, and if you're not aware of this, the dogs, the Reapers, whoever, they die quick, don't they, sometimes, if you're not keeping track of them.
Did you know with the Reapers, your number 1 formation makes them far less aggressive?
I've heard that it is down to formations, but I'm kind of stuck in my ways, and I always put them into that kind of line formation and then just charge them in. So mine are dead before they can even have a chance to YOLO in, to be honest. So So season 10 overall then, good season, bad season?
It's a good season. My biggest criticisms would probably be, where's the map? Playing over when I play on the My Game service, where's the map?
I've played it once. Genuinely, I've played it once.
But in Frontier, it's in the standard rotation, so you get it in the, But at the same time, on Frontier, we don't get things like Great Wall. I haven't played Great Wall in months. But why are all the maps not in the rotation? That's my biggest criticism. Where's the map? It's a great map. Where is it?
Yeah, so apparently it is in the rotation, and a few people have played it, but I'm not sure how much I believe them, because the only time I've actually played it is when it was in its own map rotation in Season 10, and I played it once, and no one ever seemed to play it afterwards, so that was it, really. It did seem quite good, to be honest. It seemed quite well made, that map, which is a real shame, but oh well.
What I think most about it is it's a defender advantage, right? And there's no trebuchets, and you've got to get on those big ass stationary pre-placed gold catapults and start doing it that way rather than just hit G and put a circle. And I think that's really cool. I really like that. So that's the point of difference for that map for me, and it undoes the defender advantage. It makes it easier, even again, and yeah, I like the map in general. I get to play it a lot. Yay!
I'd like to play it again, but we will see. But yeah, I think I'm definitely in agreement with you. I think Season 10 was definitely one of the better seasons. I think it brought a lot of people back again, which is definitely what the game's needing.
After the X-Raider fiasco.
Yeah, I think that drove a few people away, didn't it? Which was a shame.
Yeah. Real low point in the game's history.
Yeah, but I think they when they did get round to sorting it, I think they sorted it properly, and it's
yes. And they didn't nerf it into the ground. The unit is still super useful. Although, believe it or not, over on Frontier, people moan that the X-Raiders are not hard enough, that you can't just throw them into a unit of Tercios and wipe them. So that's a really interesting concept. That's what people on Frontier think, that X-Raiders are not powerful enough and need a buff.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, mate, to be honest. I can't say I've seen much from our side of things in terms of comments about them, but I've definitely noticed more people playing them, so I think people are happy with them on our side of things.
Yeah. I have to say, I think they're in a great place.
Yeah. So moving on to this season then. So we've already spoken about the Chevaliers. Let's carry on that chat about them. So liking them, not liking them, liking the concept of actually bringing in a different unit with them as well. You think that's quite a good thing?
I love the Chevaliers. As I said before, they're the best T5 crossbow unit in the game. And, I come from a place of, like, the units that they have. I make a lot of, like, guides and things for new players. So I've got, like, Rattan Pikeman guide, and I've got Pike Militia guide and things like this. So I've been using all of these low tier units quite often, and like my domain Arbalest, for example, have 5 purple doctrines before these Chevaliers came out, so they got chucked on there. And if you go and check out some of my videos that feature the Chevaliers, my god, they can put out some damage. They're houndsmen on steroids, right? With a few less flexibility things. But I think as a unit, the way in my playstyle works is that the knights are almost irrelevant, and they're just the meat shield for those big old archers. And I'm okay with that because it works. It just works as a unit for me. I don't know. Again, I don't play 5-man stack, and I don't play territory wars, so I'm coming from a different place. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, I'm in total agreement, mate. So when they first come out, I actually stuck my Courtiers with them, thinking that two cav units in one, like that's going to be tickety boo. But it turned out very, very quickly that is the wrong way to play them, because as soon as I change over to the blue crossbows, yeah, it's like you said, the main part of that unit isn't the actual knights, it's the retinue unit that comes in with them, and I think if you're using those blue crossbows, they're naughty. Are you not into
the farmers then? Farmers don't do it for you?
I've not actually tried the farmers. I know a few people have tried them, but it's whether it's a bug or not, I'm pretty sure it probably is, but it seems to be when you hit the 2 ability on the Chevaliers, the blue crossbows get a quad shot, and it's increased damage by 30% and all the rest of it as well. So it's like a mad kind of thing. The amount of short swords I've had actually message me asking me how I've managed to build them like that is always a good thing, isn't it? But
oh yeah, instant melt for sure.
Yeah, great. For sure. But it's all very kind of it's very dependent on the retinue unit you bring in. Cause like I said, the Courtiers got melted, Chevaliers got melted, and it was kind of I was very close to writing them off totally at that point. And someone actually convinced me to change the line I was on, because I think I originally went top line with them.
Yeah, I made that mistake. Yeah.
And then I swapped line regardless and put in the blue crossbows. And yeah, now I'm happy to bring them in. To be honest, I'm happy to have them in there with me.
Also, have you tried the green crossbows?
I've not tried the green crossbows, no, just because I haven't
Yeah.
got them, to be honest,
Oh.
or I've not built them.
That rate of fire is mental. There's so many of them, and they already shoot very quickly. And then you get the same thing. You put the double shot on them, which automatically activates, and then they get all the boosts from the Chevalier line, and it's just a constant hail of darts, pretty much. You're not doing much damage individually, but I can imagine that players in lower elo or lower tiers, particularly if it's like your second or third gold unit you've got, I can imagine that there's that green crossbow domain crossbows would just shred mid to low tier units, just utterly shred them. Sort of even anything purple tier without decent armor and a shield is going to get absolutely melted by them. But they just don't have the punch of the blue dudes, which is why I prefer the blue dudes. Domain arbalists, yes, that's what I'm looking for.
I may try the green ones, and I'll see how they do fare up, but. Yeah, green or blue crossbow, I think, are definitely the way to go. Don't use the quarterliers, because they, I can tell you from personal experience, they don't do well.
No. Yeah. The whole concept of the light cavalry charging with heavy cavalry I really like to start with, but I quickly found out that all it does is it's a few more hit points, meat shields for the knights, and the knights are not particularly good. Very tanky, not a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's it. And to begin with as well, I don't know if it was the same over on Frontier, but their 2 ability wasn't actually working for us for the first few days.
Yeah, we had the same.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case. I didn't want to just say. But moving on then to the banner guards, what are your thoughts on them?
Oh man, okay, so I did a tier list recently and I put banner guards in trash tier, weak, and I got, a couple of people absolutely ripped into me about it. And you've got to remember that when I do these things, I'm coming from I've run polls on this, the overwhelming number of people who play this game, solo queue siege random, and that's the way I put the video forward, and I mentioned that at the start, but obviously they skipped through that. When you play solo queue and you don't play territory war and you don't get into houses and things like that, the banner guards are absolutely useless, man, because you've got no coordination to use their good stuff. I've seen Gamer King and King Alpha do some mental stuff with those units, but these guys play all day, every day. This isn't my real job, man. I can't get that sort of level of crazy. So for me, I'm not impressed with them. Their leadership is pretty appropriate. I think they're the cheapest purple tier melee from memory, or cheapest purple tier full stop. But I can't do well with this unit, and I tried, man. I tried so hard when they first came out. They were actually a little bit bugged when they first came out from memory too, which didn't help me. But I ended up something like a 45% win ratio, overall. Because I was trying so hard with these banner knights and couldn't make them work. There's certainly something that you want to play with others that you can communicate with, and that's about where my thoughts on them have to end, because I can't tell you anymore as a solo queuer.
Mate, it's quite interesting hearing you say it, because I'm exactly the same. I've used them for a couple of times, and I don't think they are the best purple unit to bring in. I'm going to leave it at that, because if you're already getting slated, I don't want to get slated as well. So I think they do leave a lot to be desired. I know, like you said, there's a few content creators and stuff out there that playing well and all the rest of it, but it is the time they sink into them, I think, is probably what's different there. And for the vast majority of us that can't or don't sit on here all day long, playing all day long and learning every intricate little bit of these different units, I don't think actually. Well, I think there are better things that we can take in, aren't there? But it's I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one that thinks that way of the banner guards.
Yeah, absolutely. They certainly lack something in the style of play that I do. So that's all I can say on them.
Yeah, definitely. So I think safest thing is we'll leave that. We'll leave those banner cards there. What about the Alchemist then?
Okay, so I'm a longsword support player. I love the Alchemists, especially when you're defending something like Constantinopolis or Reginopolis, depending on what server you're on. And like the C point, for example, where it's completely enclosed, and the only real way to crack it is to come around the back, right? The only thing that really breaks those positions is when the units run out of hit points and die, and the hero's off getting a new one, or they've run out of ammunition. So when you take half of that equation out, and you're just constantly healing these guys, especially the tougher units, the Imperial Spearguard, the Iron Reapers, these things that generally get worn down over time, and that's the way you defeat them. It completely negates that necessity for your Iron Reapers to spend 2.5 minutes going back to the supply point and healing and coming back to you. And in terms of how I play, that's fantastic, man, because I can chonk back hit points like nothing on this earth as a longsword, right? And to put these guys on top is just fantastic. I can't praise this unit enough, I'm not sure if they ended up capping the number of support points you can get from them, because it's huge, man. You get 2,300 support points a game when you play these guys properly.
That's quite a lot.
Yeah, and that's not unusual, right? You get about 1,200 on an average game. They're not as good on attack, certainly, because, well, you're not sitting there waiting for the enemy to come to you. You don't have that break where the enemy comes in and they're death ball, and if you manage to defeat that death ball, you've got all this time to heal up again. You don't get that so much when you're on the attack, right? It's a zero sum, not a zero sum equation. They go in, they're either dead or they're not.
Yes, they're so again, much like the bagpipers, are you enjoying the fact that actually their primary focus is support?
Oh yes, absolutely. And you can't use them all the time, and there's maps where they're just useless, but there are maps where they are super strong, and you take them on those maps and you make a massive difference to your team. The question is always, am I, for my 180 points or whatever it is, am I better off taking a unit that does damage? Am I better off taking the Janissary Hackpateers, or whatever they're called, the muskets on a stick? They do heaps of damage in those defended, fortified areas too. What benefit are you gaining from taking the healers over a unit like that, for example? But that's why it comes down to the specific map and whether you're attacking and defending and things like that, because you have to get real value out of this unit to make it a better pick over something like that. Prefecture Guard, a lot of people would think, why the hell would I choose Alchemist over Prefecture Guard? And again, it's situational. When you're choosing your units appropriate to the map.
Yeah, and in conjunction with your longsword heal as well, I'm sure you are a welcome addition to any defending team, especially.
Yeah, bonus points.
Yeah, I am in total agreement. I'm so glad that they are starting to kind of branch out now and make units that aren't just solely attack. They actually have a bit of purpose and a bit of kind of defined nature about them now that, like you said, certain circumstances, absolutely exceptional. Other circumstances, a little bit meh. But it's nice to actually have those units and that opportunity now to bring in units like that, which they are changing the dynamics of the game, which is nice. Not everything is just about attack now, and you've actually got to start thinking about certain units like this. And I have to say, from our side of things, I don't think that we have adapted very quickly, because you don't see a lot of alchemists, you don't see a lot of bagpipers, you don't see really even a lot of longswords at the minute either playing that full support role. And I think that's kind of where our version of the game kind of or people on my version of the game kind of lets themselves down, myself included. I'm just as bad as everybody else. And I think if some of us started bringing in things like the alchemists and stuff, I think you'd start seeing a lot more wins than what we do with just absolute brute force. That's what we're all doing at the minute.
Yeah, the current reality is that support players don't get MVPs. Full stop. End of story.
Yeah, and I think that scares a lot of people, doesn't it? As they would rather that MVP win or lose rather than just support the team and get the win.
Right. I published a little thing that happened to me when I was playing support, shields and stuff recently. I had some guy message me and tell me I'm complete garbage and a total noob and I've no idea what I'm doing, which of course made me smile.
What a treat always to get those messages.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, maybe you could type my name into Google, friend. But also shields, also shields. So what were you expecting? And that's you can often come bottom of the table when you're playing a support unit or a support hero. Longswords don't get hero kills, right? It's not, well, they do, but not often. But you're always setting yourself up to look like you fail. When you're coming in the bottom third of the team, you always think, it feels bad, man. It feels bad. Even though that you've contributed a lot, you might have healed 10 units Vine Reapers from 0 back to 100. At the end of the day, you don't get the score recognition for it, even though it's improved, right? It certainly has improved.
Yeah.
But people are too focused on how many units did I kill? How many heroes did I kill? Well, what about all the other things the team needs? The team needs a lot more than hero kills and unit kills. Somebody has to do it, but it needs more than that.
Yeah, like you say, I think with the changes in the scoring system and everything, which are constantly ongoing, I think that's starting to help, isn't it, with the team makeup and everything. But yeah, no, I totally get it. Like, one of the guys I regularly play with, he was playing quite a supportive role, and I think he was genuinely bottom of the board 5 games in a row. But without him, we wouldn't have got the win. So
yeah,
that's
still dog work.
Yeah, it's a bit of a. I don't like being bottom of the board. I'm sure most people don't like being bottom of the board, but unfortunately, I think it's until the scoring system does change a little bit more, I think that is the reality, isn't it?
It is. It's absolutely the reality. Until people feel like they're being rewarded for their contribution, it just won't be a main part of the mainstream game. It's simple as that.
Yeah, no, definitely. But so season 11 then, overall thoughts? Good, bad?
Season 11, overall good, bad. I like it. The biggest thing I like about this season is that it feels like it's the most balanced season we've ever had. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it overall feels like the most balanced season we've had. And all the units that were released were solid, but not overpowered. And that's my favourite thing about this, having played 10 seasons now. I love it.
Yeah, there's definitely no no berserkers or anything, was there, this season, which is good.
Indeed. Oh, what do you think about the map, La Grande Glory? I cannot speak La Francais. So.
Yeah, you've done a far better job than I would have ever done trying to pronounce that, so hats off to you. I began not to like it. So when we played the preview event, when we did the first couple of kind of weeks into the season, I really didn't like the map. Since playing it a little bit more, learning it, and finding out all the little different kind of avenues of attack and all the rest of it, actually is probably in my top 5 maps now. I wouldn't say top 3, but I would probably say actually top 5 maps that I actually really enjoy playing on now.
Great. Do you think one side attacker or defender has an advantage on this map currently? Because they did rework it just a little bit because it was a bit tilted. Do you still think it's a bit tilted?
I think it's genuinely. I think it is actually as balanced as it can be, because there's multiple ways that attackers can get in and attack. There's multiple ways that actually defenses kind of hold up. Like, I've been part of defenses which have held the first point, second point, the last point, and there's so many ways of doing it and going about it that I think that's what makes maps interesting, is the fact that it isn't just a bottleneck such as Regionopolis or Constantinople, that you, like you said earlier, you have to go around the back of C Point to get it, realistically, because going through that front kind of gate bit or that front archway is just absolute choke point, and it just becomes a battle of brute force at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Grand Glory may still have a slight attacker advantage. I can't quite put my finger on why, but I seem to, whenever I draw that map and I'm on attack, I'm like, yes, I'm winning this one, and it seems to come about. Um, I wonder if it's just because it's new and not everybody understands the full capacity of the defence, right? But there are things about it, like the first supply point, you can defend it if you're willing to use whatever you bring to it. Kind of like Algolia A, right? You bring something to Algolia A, it's dead. It's just a matter of time. But once you get past that and across the bridge, you can completely bypass that stronghold up above with the supply point. And a lot of the defender units tend to get left behind there because they can't come back down without getting murdered, and they can't go anywhere. So I tend to think maybe that's what it is. If you get stuck up there and people aren't used to it yet, then you're, what good are you to the rest of your team for the next 2 to 5 minutes?
Yeah, it may just be how our servers play a little bit different, because I would say actually on our side I've only ever seen that happen actually twice out of all the times I've played it. It seems on our side of things, people once we know A is pretty much gone, they'll if the bridge isn't already blown, they'll blow the bridge, get rid of it, and then a lot of times on the My Games version of what I've seen at least is people have fallen back to B, but then fallen back a little bit further as well to try and cover that bridge that pops up across the river, and that's kind of where all the defenders kind of sit. So I would say, to be honest, I'm probably 50-50 both attack and defense in terms of win rate on that. But I can definitely see where you're coming from, because you just chuck in a shield unit or two on those stairs and everything up there is stuck.
Yeah. Well, you don't even. We just tend to just walk past it. What are they going to do? The 2 or 3 units up there, are they going to come down into the middle of our team? But But also the other side of it is, once you capture that A point, you don't have to go across the bridge. You can exit right, go across take that weird middle of nowhere point that nobody ever defends because it's suicide, and then you can either take the ballista bridge or you can go across the other bridge. But that supply point where they tend to spawn from is completely trebable, right? It's super exposed. I don't like that. I think that little bit of the area there, from the ballista bridge and the solid bridge through to the supply point, needs a little bit of work. Maybe, I don't know, just something to block 1 or 2 of the trebs from landing there out of the 5 or whatever it is.
Yeah. It is. That might be the reason why actually I very rarely see that defended. To be honest, I hadn't actually thought of that, because I'm usually up like on the main bit fighting, not usually down there. But I have to say the attacking team does seem to rush and take that supply point 9 times out of 10 when I'm playing that map. So that might actually be the reason why, which I hadn't thought about.
Yeah, I don't know. But if you're saying 50-50, it must be relatively balanced. So it just must be something about the team comps and things between the server, potentially. But who knows? We don't have the data on this.
Could be multiple things. It may just be people have just played it a little bit more, and I've just been lucky with my teams. Could just be down to pure dumb luck. Moving on then. Okay, so this I feel like I have to emphasise this again, because I have been called up on this in the past. Everything that you hear from this point on is not official. It is everything kind of educated guess at best. I have been sent rumours, I have been sent leaks, and I have been sent things, and I will emphasise the things that I've been sent when we talk about them. But please, whoever is listening and watching this, do not take this as gospel. This is not 100% official information. This is just what we think and what we'd like to see. So, with that aside, Mr. Stalker, Season 12... which is actually very quickly approaching us. I think we've only got a few weeks left of Season 11. What are your thoughts? What do you think we're going to be getting this time around?
What's the rumour you've heard?
So, the rumour and the leaks that I have seen and heard pitted up a French versus English season. I made the prediction that we were going to be getting an English, Welsh, whatever season from the last season. Obviously, that proved to be wrong. That proved that we got French instead. So I'm actually still predicting we are going to be getting an English season because to me everything kind of lines up for it, especially now after this last season as well. I think as well, it's not just the case that I've seen things and stuff, but I think actually from a developing point of view, I think the game seems to increase in popularity and in numbers when Western seasons come across. I'm not just saying I just want Western seasons. I don't. I want a bit of variety of everything. But I think at the current stage the game is at, and the player base, the numbers and everything that the game is at, I think another Western season will be very, very useful. Not only that, we still have that Tier 5 Archer unit outstanding, which obviously the English, Welsh were well known for, which kind of leads me to that as well. They have just publicised today official news article about the 100 Years' War, which was obviously the English versus the French, which leads me into...
To talk to you. I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah, no, I've literally saw it a couple hours ago. It's a Facebook... It's a social media post that they've put out just about the 100 Years' War, information about it and all the rest of it. Obviously, massively in relation to the French season that we are currently in, but does lead me to believe that we are likely going to be getting an English season next season.
Yeah. Join the dots, right? I mean, I already had my suspicions, but for them to post a 100 Years' War thing, I haven't even seen it. I'm going to have to go and read it after this, but that's pretty exciting. And the T5 longbow, I'm in. Sell me some longbows, man.
I was going to say, I've had gone a save for that since season 1, so that's how keen I am for it. But it's just, yeah, to me, everything seems to line up for it, and it would, I think, draw back a lot of people to the game. A lot of people to the game, having a proper English season. You've got the French season, you've had the Scottish, obviously we've had the few kind of Eastern seasons as well. I think another Western season, I think, is going to pay absolute dividends for the game. And again, I'm not saying anything that's 100% official, but the leaks that have been sent in the past have been pretty reliable. So I am, fingers crossed, touching wood, hoping that it is going to be that kind of season this season.
That'd be very exciting. Right, so if we get the T5 longbows, we get 100 Years' War. What other units? Make up a unit. Be creative. Creative license. What unit would you want to see?
What do I want to see, or what do I think we'll see?
Now, what do you want to see? We creative license here. Creative license.
What I would love is a proper like flail / mace unit. Just flail / mace. Thinking kind of Tesserigs kind of style, purple unit, blue unit. I can see either or. Probably a blue unit because obviously Tesserigs are the purple unit for the blunt damage. But I think another blunt damage class would be really, really good. Shields, two-handed. It doesn't bother me, to be honest. Two-handed would be pretty badass running around two-handed mace. But I think, yeah, that kind of Morning Star kind of mace flail type weapon would be an amazing thing to bring into game, and it hasn't really got it at the minute. I know we've got the Tesserigs, but they're... I really like that unit, but they are just not viable. They're just not viable at the minute.
Total trash tier.
I can't believe you said that. That's blasphemy, that is.
Zerigs? Oh, mate, they're so trashed here. They are... Man, I'd pick Banner Knights over there. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to get flamed for that one, I'm sure. But, yeah, I'd like to see some sort of like monastic order. We've got the monastic knights on horses and things like that, but I'd like to see a monastic order, some Templars, Hospitaliers, something that we have steeped in history and things like that, and although we've got paladins, I think they can do it better. You know, how? Well, I'm on the spot now. I'm being creative, not what I think we're getting. But yeah, I think the blunt, you know, or war picks, something like that, high penetration, um, yeah, battle axes.
I think there's still a lot of scope for what could come into the game in there. There is a lot of scope. Thinking, I just want to add kind of one here as well, I think, because it's very interesting, something that I've come across recently, but I think it definitely wouldn't be relevant to like an English season or something, but I know a lot of people have been calling out for a kind of Roman-esque season, so having a Pilum kind of unit come in would be, I think, quite awesome. I know we got the jabs and everything at the minute, but another kind of Pilum unit, jab unit would be quite cool to see.
Indeed, yeah. I think sort of Romans missed the timeline by a few centuries.
I think people have been told this, but I think like it may not be Romans, but that you may be able to make something out of kind of more, because they have done it, haven't they, where they've made it a little bit kind of behind the timeline with certain units and factions that have come into the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Maybe not so far back, but
like Kriegsrats, for example, the bayonet wasn't invented till the 17th century, so something's wrong.
Yeah, so I think as long as I think bringing something like that in and keeping it fairly grounded, fairly realistic is the way forward. Whether it be with the timeline or not, I think as long as it's not amazingly out of there, I think it'll be all right. As long as there's, what I really hope, and I've seen no sign of it so far, which is good, is I hope they keep the game as realistic as it is. So
yes,
actual proper units and things like that, and not fantasy kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's one of the key things about it that makes it so attractive, isn't it? A little touch of realism, a touch of it, a little dash of it.
A little taste of it.
A presumption of.
Yeah, so hopefully they just keep going down this line, though. That's the main thing.
Yeah. We kind of, whenever someone says to me, you know, why not Romans? We kind of did. I mean, we have Constantinople, right? We had the Byzantine season. Was it not Byzantine? But they're pseudo-Romans, aren't they? I mean, Constantinople certainly is.
Yeah, I think because I don't know if you remember Mouflon, who used to be a content creator, but he actually delved into this quite in depth when it was first raised. This was raised years ago about people wanting Romans and stuff, and he went into a fair bit of depth about it all. But I don't know. We'll see what comes. But I think for next season, going back to next season, I think that's what it'll be. Is an English season. Do you have any other thoughts of what it could be?
No, that's kind of where the rumours are. But hey, why not pirates while we're here? Throw it out
there. Do you think then? Okay, quick question for you. Do you think we will ever see a samurai season?
Now that is a question I get asked a lot. Now there's a lot of politics in this question. Obviously, this is a Chinese developed game, and there is historical enmity between the Japanese and Chinese cultures. Now, I'm from neither of those cultures, so I don't really understand it, but I understand something's going on there. And the Chinese government is relatively prescriptive as well. So, will we ever see one? I think there is potential, but I would never put money on it.
No, and I'm definitely of the same mindset. Yeah, I think there's been rumours that the developers of Conqueror's Blade can't legally. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I've never really explored into the subject. I've been told both they can, they can't, and all the rest of it. But yeah, I think for the time being, I don't think it's going to be a thing, is it? I think there's going to be a lot of different cultures and stuff that are going to come into the game first.
Yeah, I mean, we do see samurai, how do you pronounce that? We do see them, but they're always the bad guys in the PvEs, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, which I think is where a lot of the initial rumours, I may have started some of these with one of my season predictions, but I think this is where a lot of the rumours kind of come from, is we noticed those kind of samurai units and everything in the game, and we kind of thought, oh, they're already in the game, so they must be coming as a culture.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the rumours have abounded since, well, as long as I've been in the game. So
Yeah,
2.5 years.
yeah, they've definitely they've diminished, haven't they? The rumours and everything for that.
Yeah, I think everyone's just given up.
Yeah, and just see what happens now. And
Yeah, we all know that English longbows are better anyway.
indeed, mate, indeed, I'm glad you agree with that. So, thinking just very quickly then, before we come to the end, thinking outside of units, thinking outside of all that, is there anything that you would like to see come into the game? Any new hero classes, kind of systems, mechanics, anything like that?
Yeah, yeah. So some of the key things I'd really love to see in the game, you know, new heroes are hard to add to the game, and they're even harder to balance, and we know that. So we're not going to see many of them. But a javelin hero would be lovely. I think that has potential. I would also like to see some sort of pike and shot unit. Would be one of my favourites. You know, that fits the timeline. We've got a mixed unit, and we've got precedent set for that already. And that mixed unit is pike and shot. I think that would be something that I would play the hell out of. So there's my two, my unit and my hero that I'd like to see.
Pike and shot. What? Pike with a pistol, or?
Oh, pike and shot is a mixed unit. So half the unit has pikes, half the unit has muskets. And it was a tactic used before bayonets were invented. Bayonets replaced that formation. So.
Oh, okay. You kind of threw me because I thought you were talking about a hero, not the actual unit.
Yeah, no, the unit, pike and shot. The hero, I'd like to see a javelin hero.
Yeah, javelin hero would be awesome. I haven't even... Yeah, that pike and shot actually would be quite a good unit to bring in, because they are bringing in more and more mixed units into the game, which is also good to see, isn't it?
Yeah, I love the variety. Things are taking a very good direction with this game, and I'm pleased.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is definitely going the right way. The tournaments, I just want to quickly mention as well, obviously the CBL tournament, the CB Rivals tournament, which is the unofficial tournament, both do exceptionally well every single time as well. So it just goes to show there is still a lot of interest for Conqueror's Blade. It just doesn't seem to have hit that kind of marketing point, has it? It's not really found its kind of... It's not found the audience yet. It feels like it's still struggling to kind of find the people to come into the game, because as soon as I talk to people about it, mention it to people and all the rest of it, people are interested because there is just nothing else out there like it.
Yeah, it just needs to hit that critical mass, and I think if we manage to get there as a community, then it'll explode. You look at games like, you know, Wargaming's World of Tanks or World of Warships, maybe more so World of Tanks, but that was initially a slow build-up and things like that, and now it's one of the most popular subscription-based ongoing. It's been 10 years or something stupid now it's been going, which is huge for an online game. And they managed to hit a critical mass sort of only about halfway along that timeline when they really started to become more mainstream. So there's potential, and there's always hope, you know. Or maybe we'll stay niche. Hey man, there's still plenty of players who log in every day.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's we've had a few rocky periods. I don't think we're in one at the minute, but we have definitely had rocky periods. But Season 7, I think, was by far the biggest peak of players that we've had so far. Obviously, the Viking season brought a lot of players into the game, and I know a lot of those players are actually still here playing as well, which is good. I think it kind of solidifies the point that they need to just find that real kind of right audience. I'm not sure how. But I think, like you said, once they do find it, I think it will go down the road of kind of World of Tanks, World of Warplanes, that kind of ground, to be honest. And I don't think it's going to go anywhere anytime soon. That's for sure.
No. Of the three main server clusters, like the other two of them are not as big as the mainland China server, right? So that alone will keep it going. So,
yeah, definitely, mate. Have you got anything else that you would like to talk about, mention, or you're fairly happy?
I think that's a good podcast length. I think we're up to about an hour now. So
Yeah,
people are going to be sick of our voices real soon.
Yeah, so we will call it there then. So where can people find you, Mr. Stalker?
I'll put a link in my video to both your channel and my channel, and I hope you do the same. But just look me up, KnightStalker, Knight with a K, on YouTube. It's the best place to go.
Fantastic.
What about you? Where do we find you?
Well, mate,
other than England.
Other than England, yeah. So obviously, I do mainly YouTube. I do the odd stream here and there, mainly just for drops. But I'm mainly over on YouTube. I haven't done as much as I should have done recently, but I am looking at getting back into it. I kind of burnt out recently, but still plenty of stuff on there anyway. But yes, of course, I will stick a link in my video for you, mate. Oh God, my words have just gone. I don't even know what I was trying to say there. Of course I will. Of course I'll stick a link in there. That'll be a pleasure of mine, mate, to stick a link for you in there. But I want to say thank you very much for your time, mate. It's I would say it's been worth the wait. It's been a good old chat.
It has. I've had fun. It's always good to get perspective of people who are on the other side of what we do individually. So
yeah, definitely. So I will say I hope to catch you all out in the next one. Thank you very much for joining. Hit that like, sub, all the rest of it, all that lovely fan-dooby-tastic stuff, both on my channel and on KnightStalkers, wherever you are watching this. So just hit all those buttons. That'd be great. Knight, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope to catch you again in the near future, mate. But yeah, I know you've got some important stuff to do today, haven't you? Like going back to bed and chilling out, so I won't keep you from that. But thank you very much for that, mate.
Thanks, mate. Ka kite. We'll see you later.
See you later, dude.